Welcome back. It's 7 days to the elections, and the momentum has not waned on either side. All the political parties are aiming for that final day. The politicians are still searching for the votes and support of Nigeria's electorate. And those who are seeking to pick up their permanent voter cards are still going along. And I just saw a tweet here. Someone that said, "Oh, thank God, I finally got my transferred PVC yesterday.
Great.
Thank you, INEC. Good for INEC." That's Oluxman. Okay, sorry, I had to bring that tweet in because I thought it was good to mention. But let's look at the conduct. A lot of people are still worried about the conduct of the elections. The situation in the northeast, where the military is continuing to gain ground, yet there are still concerns about the security of the personnel that will be there to conduct the elections. Accusations, counter-accusations from the PDP, the APC, accusing themselves back and forth. The way forward, what do we do? How do we conduct ourselves? How should the electoral umpire manage the entire situation in such a way that at the end of the day, it will be seen to have been free, fair, and credible? But we're hoping to discuss this today, and joining us to discuss the preparation 7 days to D-Day are Mr. Patrick Obahiagbon, Honorable Patrick Obahiagbon, Chief of Staff to the Edo State Governor. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Also here is Dr. Austin Tam George, Executive Director, Institute of Communication and Corporate Studies.
Thanks for having me.
And joining us from our studios in Abuja, Dr. Kat Ononuju, economist, visiting scholar, Heritage Center, Abuja, and also a member of the PDP. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, gentlemen. Again, there's no woman here, is there?
No.
No, but maybe that's because we're going to have the women come in after this segment. All right, let me begin with you, Honorable Obahiagbon. It's 7 days to the D-Day. How would you say the preparations have been?
Well, for me, I want to give eulogies. If possible, I will even give panegyrics to INEC. For me, there has been some substantial amelioration in terms of preparing for the elections from 2011 to where we are now. Yes, INEC has not been a perfectionist, but in any case, they are not angels. Within the shortcomings, the systemic shortcomings, I want to say they have done their best. 7 days to the election, I am very, very happy to observe that all the sensitive and non-sensitive materials have arrived all the respective states, and they are in safe custody. I am happy to observe that over 81% of registered voters have collected their PVCs. About 68 million people registered. About 56 million people have collected their PVCs, which is over 81%. I am satisfied about the Olympian aloofness, about the latitudinarian predisposition of the electoral umpire, in spite of the bashings, in spite of the deliberate quagmire orchestrated by some political dramatis personae. But Jega has simply decided to be above the fray. I'm happy to observe that just now, INEC has sent out its 12 national commissioners to the respective states. We in APC, we are fully prepared for this election. But it is sardonic to observe. So just give me 5 minutes. It is sardonic to observe.
I don't think you have 5 minutes.
It is sardonic to observe that it is the incumbent government, the People's Democratic Party, that are just afraid of these elections. And I can run through this.
Okay, but let me just stop you there and bring in the Dr. Ononuju from Abuja. Dr. Jamdod, you come in after. Let's hear the two of them, since you're the neutral man. Dr. Ononuju, and now, Honorable Obahiagbon has talked about the preparations of INEC, But he ends with a resounding statement that it is the People's Democratic Party that is afraid of the elections. What's your take?
I would want to remind my friend Patrick that it was the People's Democratic Party that appointed Jega, and it was the People's Democratic Party that appointed the INEC that conducted the election, that brought in Mr. Oshomole, that appointed him as Chief of Staff. If the PDP had not been this good in conducting credible elections in Ondo, in Oshun, in Anambra, in Edo, where his principal, Mr. Oshomole, thanked the government for making the soldiers' presence to actually arrest the space in such a way that the election was done in an inclusive form. What the PDP wants is the election should be done in an inclusive form, not using legalistic terms of substantial compliance. So if you have only 31% of the population voting, you say people have voted. No, let us have voting in such a way that as many people as possible are included in the process so that we can feel a sense of belonging and a sense that we have contributed towards making this change. The PDP is not afraid about election. We know that the PDP still will win because the APC has not been able to damage that public perception about General Buhari being a very, very violent man who represents not a political party, but the insinuations of a Sunni platform. And this is what we're trying to say. We want an inclusive Nigeria. We want a Nigeria where everybody's aspirations are carried along, including the weak, the poor, the vulnerable, and those who are young also. We don't want anybody removed with some legalistic terms like substantial compliance. No.
Okay.
Mr. Noniju?
Yes.
Whereas I hear you, I just want to fly a kite. I say that INEC may produce 100 million PVCs, but if people are not interested and they do not go to pick up their PVCs, there isn't anything that INEC can do about it. The cards will be sitting down there, whereas we all want an inclusive election. We can't force it, can we?
That is not what it is. Don't forget, a lot of Nigerians, let me give you an instance. INEC were say that in Borno State, where they will have a civil war, that there is 95% collection. In Ogun State, where you have peace, there is only 34-point-something% collection. You will know that something is wrong. Some people will go there, including me, to collect my card, and they tell me stories of, we can't find your card is not there. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, the yesterday's INEC might have been very good, but Jega is a good man. But of course, he has become compromised because some people have gotten into INEC, seized it. As you heard the SSS say the other time, they caught some APC people with cloning of cards. INEC has now assured us that those cards that were caught with APC, that they have redesigned the source code for the card readers, that all the cards that were caught by the SSS at the APC's office would